he picked the wrong family, and not scared of a conflict, and we're not scared. We're not running. We're coming at him.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Think Tank. It's been a busy day around here today. So it looks like there has been a vehicle explosion right on the US Canadian border down by Niagara Falls area. They're saying that it was not a vehicle from Canada. So at this point, it's basically on the US side, and they're trying to figure out if this was, I don't know, maybe some type of, I don't know, maybe a vehicle mishap of sorts, or with all of this stuff that's been floating around about, let me see, we don't have any volume here.
Down this street here, but to me it was like slow motion when the vehicle was up in the air, and
Just
he
trying
was
to
just
figure out,
airborne.
is this
I can't imagine how it got that high up, so he had to be doing quite a speed for that to
an
happen.
attempt
What was going through your
Pardon me?
mind? How were you feeling?
attack,
It was like a movie,
or was this
it's strange because I can
possibly
play it in
a
my mind very fast
true
or in slow
accident?
motion. And it's like a
We'll
movie. I'm
listen to
saying,
this for a
oh
little
my,
while.
and
It
then
won't
all of
be
a
a
sudden I
long
see a
live,
vehicle.
but I did
Looked
thought
like
maybe
an
we would try
SUV,
and take a boo
but
at it.
who knows what I saw, but it was a vehicle and it was in the air.
How close would you say it was to where the bridge inspectors would be?
When the vehicle went airborne, it was down by this signal. It hit something like a concrete thing that goes on an angle, and then it went up. It was up in the air, and it started to turn sideways, and then it went in. At that point, I was just praying that it didn't hit any of the Border Patrol officers.
So you didn't see it actually strike where their booths are or anything like that, or?
It went underneath, and then metal hitting metal. That's exactly what I heard. It was metal on metal.
Where were you at the time?
I was right across the street. There's the One Niagara building directly across the street. It was like it was 50 feet away from me, but that's exactly what happened. That car did not get on top. It was airborne.
Were the flames shooting up in the sky?
No, it was black smoke, and then they weren't shooting up. It was like a bonfire or something like that. Then they eventually did get higher. They started out low. And then the flame got bigger and bigger, and then it went down. And by that time, the fire department, then I think they wanted everybody out of the area.
Could you see how many people were actually in the vehicle?
No, I could not see how many were in there. It was just airborne. The only thing I remember is it turned sideways and then hit over there. And at that point, don't let it hit anybody else. So this is the truth.
What did you do after the fact? Were you just standing there in shock?
I'm still a little bit shaky. Sorry about that. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was just like something you see in Hollywood or something. And it's strange because I can replay it either in slow motion or fast. But it looked at that point when the vehicle was in the air, it was like it was moving 30 or 40 miles an hour.
And how did you happen to be here?
I came down. We get we're seasonal tour guides, and we get laid off in the winter. So I came down here to talk to the sales guy just to see how things are going, rather than stay home and get bigger than I already am. Just a couple.
So what I've been hearing is that it's on the US side and that it was not a Canadian vehicle that had crossed. So whatever has gone on here, it's looks like it is coming from the US side and kind basically contained to that side. Oh, you're very welcome, Karen. I don't know. You know, the fact that it's burning black smoke, that always makes me a little concerned. So let's hope that this was something like a issue with the vehicle and not somebody trying to cause problems over this Thanksgiving weekend.
Come down to shoot the breeze. I've been a guide here in Niagara Falls for 15 years.
Have you spoken to Homeland Security? Did they interview you at all?
Yes, the FBI came to my house. I gave them a statement, and then finally, but before I gave them a statement, because I gave the officer my license, and he said, you know, I said, if I can help you, he took my license, my name and number. I'm seeing all this stuff on the news that was inaccurate, and the news had already called me, but then they just called. I just had an interview with them. They came to my house maybe 35, 40 minutes ago.
Can you say and spell your first and last name again?
Ricky, R-I-C-K-I-E Wilson.
And that was the FBI that interviewed?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
They didn't say not to talk to anybody, but I'm seeing all this stuff that's inaccurate. This is exactly what I saw. There is.
All right, so you're hearing from Ricky, who says he's a witness of what happened here at the border. And of course, we're going to be learning a lot more here in the hours to come, right?
Yeah, they are mentioning an attack, but we're not quite sure yet. It's not coming out as gospel at this point. They're just basically saying that the possibility is there. But I do get concerned when I hear about all that black smoke and a vehicle just kind of getting thrown into the air. So let's hope this has got nothing to do with causing issues over this long weekend. It's definitely concerning.
Right now, this is all still very active, very fluid. We're bringing you this information as we can here at Live Now from Fox, always walking you through all of the different live images, tweets, things that we're seeing on social media, and taking it to you live here as we watch it happen in real time. Again, I'm Lexi Petrovich here on the desk right now. We have a lot to get to as we continue to follow all of the developments here. We want to bring in right now Joe Thompson.
No, they're not saying that this is an attack at this point, Chopper. They're just, I think, covering all the bases. They've basically said, yeah, they're not sure at this point. They've basically said they've got it contained to the US side of the border. So now I guess they're going to have to start looking at what caused this. I mean, could it be a vehicle malfunctioning? It could. It really, really could. But luckily, it seems like it may have done harm to the people in the vehicle, but it doesn't look like it's done damage to anybody else. So they will get the opportunity to dig through all of this shrapnel and try and figure out, yeah. Yeah, I think they were in the vehicle, were they not, Tony? Yeah, don't get scared yet. Don't get freaked out yet, because let's wait and hear what they have to say. Oh, no, don't. Oofda. Right, Karen? Oh, my. This world.
Who is a former NYPD officer. He joins us now. Joe, thanks so much for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's get right into it. I'm going to pull up a tweet here right now. This is from the White House press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre. She says the president has been briefed on the vehicle explosion at the Rainbow Bridge port of entry.
Okay. I'm going to go over and look at this for a second. Well, this looks like the activity that's going on there right now. Cop cars everywhere. These guys have no sound. Wowzer. Yeah, it's getting to be just after dinner time there. So it's starting to get dark. Yeah, it was a very big explosion. It really was. Yeah, they've said that it was like just a massive, big smoke, black smoke plume. And there is, I mean, it was a big explosion. Okay, let's see here. I'll see if I can load some pictures in for you guys. It's busy. You know, at least it did not, let me see where I got this. Sorry, guys. It does not seem like there was any other, sadly, anybody died, but at least if the idea was to do large scale damage, they were not able to take a lot of people out, which is pretty damn important. Let's see if I can get these for you guys. So I got a few for us. Okay, so part of the blast right there. Look at that, eh? Big black plume of smoke. But it seems like it stayed pretty much in one area. Yeah. Where am I here? Take a look back here, guys. A little bit of bouncing around, but I just want to get the best info we can.
In the skies, everyone is very much on high alert ahead of Thanksgiving and really into the end of the year. This comes especially at a time that we've seen really a lot of division across the country, of course, Joe, too, with the war still ongoing and differences in opinions and whatnot. So how have you seen New York City in particular really ramp up patrols? We've seen that before for big events, anytime there's a big parade, a big holiday, but now especially to have an incident like this. In addition to that, how have you seen things really pick up?
Well, in New York City, we're always on guard. You know, that's something we don't take lightly here in New York City. So Every parade, everything that you see going on in the city, every major event is always going to have top-notch security. And when they see stuff like this, again, they monitor everything going on in a world stage. You know, the NYPD has a broader scope than what most people actually think. You know, we have detectives all over the world that monitor this stuff from abroad and report back to our intelligence. And we get the best and the most accurate information that's out there. So watching this is just another thing. They're going to be monitoring it just the way we are now. They'll get all the inside facts on what actually happened here and how they can prepare themselves with the Thanksgiving Day parade and some of the big events that are coming up in New York City. Again, New York City is a prime target for terror. I mean, we all know that, very highly populated. But the way that the NYPD patrols it, it's top notch, and it's not a soft target by any stretch of the imagination. We make it very difficult. I mean, we cover all the bases when it comes to protecting New York City.
Absolutely. And we can see this video that we're getting in here. We're getting a couple of different perspectives. Obviously, a ton of law enforcement. There seems to be a ton of people who are on top of this very breaking and fluid scene here. Joe, talk to us about just the response that they likely got in a situation like this in a very busy place with people commuting over the holiday week and weekend.
Yeah, well, immediately the thought is going to be terror, and that's natural, and that's the way it should go, because we have to rule that out first. So the FBI will immediately, their field office will immediately get notified and respond to that location. Their investigative teams, their evidence response teams will all be on scene. They'll be picking through this scene piece by piece, again, trying to figure out if this was an actual terror incident.
So I may have found that explosion. Let me see. Okay. No. I say no. Okay. There it is. Let's do this again. Whoa! Whoa! Olé! Airborne much? Look at it. I don't quite understand what that could have been. No. Okay.
Here's what we know according to our 4 senior law enforcement officials that were briefed on the matter. This is video of that explosion that's come into our newsroom. From what we understand, a vehicle crashed into the checkpoint structure at the Rainbow Bridge. You're seeing it right here at a high rate of speed. It hit the structure, caught fire, and then exploded. An initial search did not find any indications of an explosive device in the car. I do want to stress this situation is very fluid, and this is just preliminary information that.
Well, that's good, right? It's not looking like there was any kind of device, and it almost looks like it just went straight up. Like it looked like it hit something and just kind of did the Dukes of Hazzard jump.
We're getting right now. There are 2 casualties from what we understand, 2 people that were inside the car. To be clear, we do not know yet if the incident was intentional or simply an accident. As a precaution, though, several border crossings between Western New York and Canada have been closed for now. The White House has been briefed as well, as the governor of New York, Governor Kathy Hochul, is headed to Buffalo right now to meet with law enforcement.
So what do you guys think? Do you think that looked like it didn't just blow up? So I'm not sure what I think of that.
Or just 2 lunatics in a car that decided to drive into a barrier. I mean, it's going to be that black or white, so to speak, until we find out more details about the occupants of this vehicle, which I've been told are deceased. They're going to try to figure out who the owner of the vehicle is and who these occupants are, and they're going to go and do what they normally do with these people.
That's
They're
what
going to
I
go to their
thought,
homes.
Tony.
They're going to go get out search warrants and look through all their stuff and find out if they were parts of any associated terror organizations. And again, you see what's going on the world stage here, and that's something that we really have to look at. I'm not saying that this is not a terror attack, but I'm experienced enough to know that we have to wait till we get some more facts in to say for sure that this was an actual terror attack. I mean, of course, just like any normal person, when I watch this.
So what do you guys think? Just by watching what we just seen, how that car, was orbited, does that look like an explosion, or does that look like maybe it hit an approach and was airborne? The speed they were going is peculiar. Absolutely. Well said. I can't imagine the limit there is 50 that close to a crossing. Yeah, that's very true, Dandy. Yeah, that's very, very true. Yeah, it almost, with as fast as they were going and the fact that that thing, like literally, it looked like it was doing a ramp jump, like it went up. It was very, very bizarre. Can't tell. Yeah. Well, I don't think they're going to have the answers
The
tonight.
first thing I thought of was, well, we're heavily engaged over there right now in Israel, and with Hamas there, and then Iran is involved. The first thing I think of is that there's going to be some sort of a terror link to this. But again, we don't know that for sure yet. And they're
No.
going to be doing everything they possibly can to try to either, rule that out or, and basically try to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, when you look at the timeline too, obviously anytime there's a breaking news situation like this, we are waiting to hear from officials, waiting for them to gather enough information to be able to tell us so that we can inform the public with the bare minimum at the very least. So what do you think the timeline will look like for us here? Do you think we will have a clear idea if this was a terror attack or not in the next couple of hours?
Yeah, I believe they're going to be working on this fast and furious, especially if it wasn't a terror attack. They want to get that information out because right now, in most people's minds, they're going to be thinking that we're under attack. And again, myself included, the first thing I thought of was this could be terror related. And to be honest with you, to kind of go into something else, my first thought is that our borders have been open for the last three years or so. I mean, how many people have come in here that we don't know about? So I've already been thinking about the terror aspect on this when it comes to the world stage and what's going on already. Because in 9/11, these people came in here and they planned this out for years before they actually hit us. And that's the same type of thing that I think of when I see something like this. And I'm hoping
That thought is beyond scary. Like truly beyond scary. Geesh, Bibble. Can't really see much from this one, can we?
Arrest, but also make sure that they are properly responding to this incident, whatever exactly happened, whatever the motivation for the individuals in that vehicle approaching the Rainbow Bridge were, and make sure again that they have the appropriate response. That is the situation here from 3rd and Niagara in Niagara Falls. We'll send it back to you. Came down this street and went right into there. It went into the plaza, but that other guy seen it coming down the street. He's a cab driver.
hoping that that's not the case. And, you know, the investigators, the FBI is very well capable of being able to rule this out. I'm sure that time is of the essence with them to try to get the news out that it was not, in fact, a terror attack, if that's the case.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll be hearing from them very soon here. We'll be taking viewers out to that as soon as we see anybody step up. We also, though, Joe, are, of course, seeing how this is going to be impacting people who are trying to get to and from location to location ahead of Thanksgiving tomorrow. This here, a statement from the Buffalo Airport saying in response to the incident that's unfolding at the Rainbow Bridge, the NFTA is increasing security system-wide. Cars coming into the Buffalo Airport will undergo security checks. Travelers can expect additional screenings. The Buffalo Niagara Falls airports are fully operational. We advise travelers to give themselves time for these extra precautions in addition to holiday travel. And Joe, you know, safety, of course, is always the priority here, but we all know how hectic it is just in general to travel around the holidays. And then you take into account all of this extra safety that's being put in, which of course is a good thing, especially when you're weighing what's happening right now. But how complicated does that make things, especially for people who are traveling through this area ahead of tomorrow?
Oh, absolutely. And you know, the ripple effect is going to be felt throughout the entire country with this until we know the facts of this case. Everybody is going to look at when in law enforcement, we always side with caution. We're always going to make sure that people are safe first. If we don't know the facts of this case, we're going to treat it as if it was a terror attack and that there could be many more of them. So I expect delays. I mean, this is the worst possible time, and my heart goes out to everybody who's trying to travel to family and everybody right now during Thanksgiving. You know, it's going to be mayhem and the airports at the crossings, you know, but you have to understand it's for a reason. We went through it after 9/11 with the bridges and tunnels and the airports, and everything was high, you know, we were on high alert, and we have to be. We have to protect the people from, God forbid, another one of these attacks, whatever it is, lone wolf or an affiliated organization. But they are going to side with caution, and they're certainly going to tighten everything up. And like I said, I can only, you know, give my heartfelt feelings out to the people that are ready to travel for this holiday season. They're going to be going through some pain during this travel time.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, for this to be happening in a place like New York, we know that there are so many activities, things that are planned for a holiday weekend like Thanksgiving. Do you think that this will have potentially any impact on some of those scheduled events?
Well, I could tell you from being in New York, we don't like to change anything that we do event-wise, because we don't want to give in to the terror. We don't want to bow down to them as if they won. So what we'll do is we'll tighten up security even more. You know, we already, I can't go into details about how we secure New York City, but.
Okay, well, let's see. Lord Murphy, you guys. I've got some different ones up, so I'm just trying to, a lot of them are the same.
waiting for any kind of official word about exactly what happened at the Rainbow Bridge. But I think it's worth mentioning the context in which this is happening. Tensions are high in this country, as it is in Canada, around the world, especially given what's happening in the Middle East. There have been regular protests here in New York City and across cities across the world. So that's sort of the environment in which this is happening, which is why I think you're getting this curiosity about what this is, this concern about whether it is terrorism. Add to that, it's Thanksgiving Eve. This is one of the busiest travel seasons of the year. I think AAA estimated that 55 million Americans travel at this point. But as I said, we don't have a lot of information at this point because we have yet to get any kind of extensive and official briefing about what happened. And really who we're waiting for right now would be New York's governor, Kathy Hochul. This is her jurisdiction. As far as we know, this explosion happened south of the border, so on the American side in New York State. And last we heard from Governor Hochul is on Twitter. She posted about 2 hours ago that she was on her way to Buffalo. So assuming that she's coming from the New York governor's mansion in Albany, that's about a 4-hour drive. I don't know if she's flying, but I imagine she's going to be arriving in Buffalo shortly. She also posted on Twitter, or now X, that at her direction, New York State Police is actively working with the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force to monitor all points of entry to New York. So that gives you a sense of the speculation around this incident. About 45 minutes ago, we heard from New York City Mayor Eric Adams, and he pretty much said the same thing, Hannah. He said that the NYPD have been working closely with New York State Police, and in fact, some NYPD officers are already on their way to Buffalo at this point. And he also said that he'll have more information.
So it's sounding like we'll find out fairly quick if there was any kind of devices with this vehicle. I did find over on Twitter, which something I thought was okay. Wow. Boom.
My wife and I were walking down Main Street here, and the car was coming flying back here, like over 100 miles an hour. We could hardly even see me. It was going that quick. There was a car in front of him. He swerved around it, and then it looked like he hit the fence, and this fire started, and then all of a sudden he went up in the air, and then it was a ball of fire like 30, 40 feet high.
It is really, really curious that that vehicle was going as fast as it was. That's a really, really good point.
Of fire like 30, 40 feet high. I've never seen anything like it. It was really incredible.
I'm sorry, sir. You were walking. Where were you walking?
We were walking up this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then describe it again. So
Okay, so we were walking up
turn
this
towards us. Turn towards us.
sorry.
Yeah.
So we were walking up the road, and we seen this car coming down towards the border, and he was flying over 100 miles an hour.
Wow.
There was a car in front of him. He swerved out, went in front of the car, hit the fence, went flying up into the air. He hit, I think there was a elevation part. He went up into the air, and we just seen the fireball, and that's all we could see. It was just covered in smoke everywhere.
So the car was coming from the U.S. into Canada, towards Canada?
Yes, it was going towards Canada, yes.
Okay. Did it actually hit towards the bridge? Where was that elevated area?
There was a fence there. That fence.
Well, so it really makes you wonder. I've heard a couple different things about the people that may have been inside that vehicle, but I'm going to wait and get it confirmed before I say a whole lot.
Stuff around there. It looked like it hit part of the fence because it's all damaged, and then it went elevated up, and then it went up into the air, and then it was just a fireball and smoke everywhere.
And did you see officers like
Okay. Let me see if I there. Oh, check this one out.
How black the smoke is. Oh my gosh, it's getting worse. Yeah. Is somebody trying to put it out or? I don't know. I don't.
Yo, call Steve. Tell him to come back.
Wow. That's brutal.
How black the smoke is. Oh my
Wow.
gosh, it's getting worse. Yeah. Is somebody trying to put it
Like
out
the
or?
black.
I
Look
don't
at all
know.
that dirt. Dirty bird.
I don't.
Whoa. That's unreal, guys. Looks like they're going to have a press conference.
No, turn the wall light off. And then, leave these on, see if we.
Everything else is on.
These can go. Matt, could you stand there for a second?
Yeah, but these can also go.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, leave, yep, right there. Let's see. Okay, it looks better in camera than it does. You guys tell me. That looks better. Okay. Yeah, it looks pretty good in camera.
So it sounds like the governor is going to speak.
You guys look at that? Do I have 2 minutes to go get my headphones?
Yep. Just make it a quick 2 minutes.
No, but I don't know what it
Do we need to move this way at all, or?
might be good. I think it's actually.
You good?
Move it,
Do you-
more towards the light. Once we don't get the raccoon on this. No? Okay. Yeah, there.
Is that better?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Let's look at that. You know, you might
Yeah.
want to spread those legs out when you move it, they kind of flap.
I hate this. Testing 1, 2, 3. Good.
Hello.
I'll never forget you. I'm so sorry. It's okay. Can you go up there and give me a down? Yeah.
That's true.
I'm good.
Everyone good?
Hello, Rochester folks. How you doing?
Hold on.
Take your time. I'm in no rush.
Right? Thank you.
Julie, you're good? Okay.
Good, thank you.
Do you know what? It sure could have been, hey?
Thank you. Thank you.
Not on it. You want mine? I don't need a moment.
All right.
He's here.
Sorry, I can move.
No, you're good.
Can't you just get with the governor's office?
Hey, how are you?
There you go.
I have some issues in there.
I noticed you
Yes.
sometimes you get a response, sometimes you don't. I think that's purpose, but it's not based on the topic. But if you ever need anything, just reach out to me. Like I can send you an email.
That's okay, no, Benny gave me a call.
Okay, good. Yeah.
All right, I appreciate that.
Just let me know if you need anything.
All right, yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Over here.
Yeah.
I have to run a jacket.
No. That's a smart thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Understood. Sometimes it gets too warm though.
Yeah. You want this one? All right. I'm just gonna text that.
They say
And they got a shot.
Oh, okay.
Hey, we should be sending the very shortly. Just spoke with the state trooper. She says, he says.
Okay.
Just stay in touch with one of us. Do a text them. Do it fast.
Hey, Mike? Yeah. Right? Yeah.
After all of this, what are the chances of Justin looking his phone?
Sure.
Hey, how are you? How's it going?
Hello. Matt, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Long time no see.
Let me guess, you were in Orchard Park earlier.
I was in Orchard Park and then I called and said, hey, what's going on? And they were like, definitely don't need to do anything. But I live on the north end of Grand Mountain, so I'm close. So it was just like,
There you go.
I'm helping. I won the lottery today. Ah, not you.
Did they?
Oh, they
They just-
agree.
They just take the registry of the people.
You were wrong, Governor Sutton.
Then they got it. It's like, just, yeah, exactly.
It was interesting.
I just did election. Yeah, I'm still up. see like rodeo flags, with the green colored walls.
Yeah. Oh my God, I know. When I got off the ramp right at the fire station, and I looked around to back up on the right lane, just people going in to figure out what's going on with these bridges. It's crazy. Ridiculous. Well, there was a crew from TSN in Toronto at field practice today, and they were like, we're stuck. We can't get home. They're like, if we can't get over the bridge, so they booked hotels. So they were like, tomorrow's not a holiday. So they're just spending, they're like, we'll just come tonight. Yeah, yeah. Home tomorrow.
Started connecting to Canadian service.
Oh, God. I feel like that happens to my phone every time I go to this stuff.
Okay. Okay. All right, I'll try to figure out what that is. My mind. That's amazing. How are we doing? All right.
Yeah, there should be the podium and then the flags. Yeah.
Hey, Charlie. How are you? Great to see you. Hi, Charlie.
Hey, buddy. You know, it's a big one. I show up. I'm like, all right, yeah. Thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. That's one of our bugs. Yeah.
Hello again.
That's what I don't think it is.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know where though, so I just came back.
That it does. Warmer. Oh, yeah. Nice to meet you.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Are we able to move you back a little bit at all? Should we make something back here?
Not any of your time.
Zoom?
Okay.
Hi.
Hi, Matt.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Hey, so, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you doing?
Don't worry about those things.
See that? I know it. Which I like. Happy Thanksgiving. Just want to jump spot. Did you go on the same?
Yeah, it was just in practice, like everything was wrong.
What did you say,
Come back for
Hey,
sure.
maybe.
They don't know what was good.
Maybe.
It's like, I'll just
Here.
push whatever.
It's at the US Attorney's office downtown. Wait,
I'm not.
Don't leave it though. Do we have an extra? Yes. Hi, everybody.
I called him. Stay with me, will you?
I'll wait for the
Don't let him.
Yeah.
And, did you click on check?
Yes.
Thank you.
Russ, the US Attorney's presser is gonna be downtown.
Test, 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 test. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Testing. 1, 2, 3. I am not Governor Hochul. Good. White. You need white. I don't have it.
No.
No.
And how soon? How soon?
At a briefing happening this afternoon. Now, this is a pre-scheduled briefing given that the Macy's Day Thanksgiving Parade is happening tomorrow, and that's a big security situation. Thousands of people attend that event. So we'll wait to see what he says at that briefing. Often, Governor Hochul and Mayor Adams hold joint meetings when it comes to situations like this. So we'll see whether they'll have something to say together. From President Biden, we haven't heard anything from him either. He has not posted on social media. We do know that he arrived in Nantucket last night with the First Lady. That's where they're spending Thanksgiving. And, no doubt he's also getting briefed on the situation at this point. We also heard from one witness who was at the bridge when it happened, and he gives quite a colorful account of what he saw. Have a listen to that.
The car was coming flying back here like over 100 miles an hour. We could hardly even see me. It was going that quick. There was a car in front of him. He swerved around it, and then it looked like he hit the fence, and this fire started, and then all of a sudden he went up in the air, and then it was a ball of fire like 30, 40 feet high. I've never seen anything like it. It was really incredible.
And Hannah, as for Buffalo International Airport, about 100 flights travel a day from that airport. So it's not a huge airport. A couple hours ago, they posted online that they are checking all cars, that cars are having to go through security points, that individual screenings are also happening. And so they warn travelers to prepare to spend some time at the airport as they go through security. And now at that point, all flights were still running, but about 3:30 p.m.
It's not really giving me that I want to travel vibe. Unreal.
The FAA posted that all international flights going in and out of Buffalo International Airport has been grounded at this point. And then I should mention that from the Department of Homeland Security, they've always had an alert that the U.S. is at a heightened security even before all of this happened. So this is the environment in which this explosion is being scrutinized. And so even though we don't know a lot of information, we don't know if this was terrorism.
No, and that's the thing, we do not. We don't have a clue, do we? Okay, let's see here. Are they just about ready?
Hey, excuse me, can you pull that mic down to? Yeah, check it out.
Okay, you need a check still? Is it still gonna work? Okay. How are you doing?
I'll give them a couple more minutes, and if nothing happens, I'll put something else up until, but I'm thinking they're pretty close.
I will try, but I can't just do that. Go for it. I don't have service. It won't go through. I just got That's fine. Rochester is easier. I'm sure they're going to leave. Yes. Also, I'm hearing if you guys want your signature, we'll have the conference up on the grid so you guys can see my slides. Oh, sorry, it's
Everyone's good with that test for the cameras?
Nope, thank you.
Okay. All right.
All right, thanks.
Okay, I'm gonna start there. You're good. Okay, everyone's good? Jim, you good? Okay.
I'm good, thank you.
Mo, how long do you think?
I'll find out.
Well, hopefully, guys. Come on, come on, come on. Let's do this. This gives us an idea of where everything happened. So this is the Canadian side and the US side over here. And it seems like everything happened below. The way it was looking, it looked like it kind of went out that way. Unless let's see. Isn't that a mess? Just a flippin' mess. So it sounds like I'll be back on TMZ in a few weeks. They just sent me a message. Fast but sweet. I got to talk to Harvey Levin on there. That was kind of cool.
Which means nothing.
Well. Let's see here.
No, I'm off.
It's blurry. It's blurry.
Glad to know we're on the same road. As soon as this started coming in,
Isn't that something, guys?
my vacation's not actually a vacation.
What concerns me, like I said before, is this great big, extremely dark plume of smoke. That makes me really uncomfortable. What a shame.
3 minutes.
3 minutes, guys.
Thank you very much for your patience, everyone.
I appreciate you guys and thank you for your patience. Unreal. That must be the car frame. It was burning hot. Like you said, what was in there? Jet fuel? We'll see what he has to say here. And I'll play it by ear as to how much longer. I was supposed to do some things today and I didn't get the opportunity. What do you think he's going to have to say for himself? Do you think they're going to have actual information for us? Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was absolutely incinerated. It could, but still, I mean, I've never seen, I mean, I've literally seen a vehicle blow up. One of those little Pacers got rear-ended in front of the house I was living in when I was younger. And it blew up, but it didn't do this. Come on, come on, come on. I want to know what the hell. It's on the opposite side of Canada for me, but that's not really the point. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Oh, one more minute. It really does, Tracy. No, neither have I, Dandy. No. I mean, the car that I seen, it didn't affect the whole vehicle. You know, I don't know. Do you guys ever go to like smash up derbies? Even those, I used to love going to those. And I've never seen a vehicle do that. I've never seen that. Vehicles catch on fire for sure, but you would think if they were built to explode that big, nobody would drive them. No, I don't think so. I don't think so, friend. Yeah, that's not. No. It's absolutely not. Come on, mister. You're holding us up. So I know that Trudeau has put out a statement. I'm just going to probably eat first and keep my meal down before I hear his voice. Once I think I'm not going to hurl by the sound of his voice, then I will absolutely let you know what he had to say. Which I'm sure wasn't all that educational anyways. Personal view. Yeah. About 4 floors. 4 stories, yeah.
Yeah, please. Right here. Right here.
Hmm. Still nothing. Really? Well, so much for 3 minutes. Okay, well, we'll just look at something to interest us until they decide they're gonna.
Billion of our national debt came from just those 2 wars, Iraq and Afghanistan.
Okay, that's not what I'm interested in. Okay. "30 seconds." Do you believe them? I'm starting to have my doubts. Everyone else is up and waiting for them too, so. Well, well, well.
Walking in now.
Okay, so state police first. Okay, Commissioner Bray, we're gonna go right in. Okay.
All righty. Okay, her. I remember.
Good afternoon. I just returned from the scene of a horrific accident that led to a high-level anxiety all the way from Western New York to Albany to Washington. But before I describe the details, I want to be very, very clear to Americans and New Yorkers. At this time, there is no indication of a terrorist attack. Let me repeat that. At this time, there is no indication of a terrorist-involved attack here at the Rainbow Bridge in Western New York. At 11:27 this morning, a car going at a very high rate of speed crashed into a median at Niagara Street, just minutes from here. It's in the city of Niagara Falls, near one of the border crossings into Canada, the Rainbow Bridge. There are 4 border crossings here in Western New York. This is one of the busiest crossings, not just in Western New York, but along the entire US-Canadian border. And it happens on the busiest travel day of the year. So naturally, in a time of heightened alert, everyone sprang into action. It crashed into a Customs and Border Patrol booth, and the car and the booth immediately exploded. Burst into flames. I saw the video of an airborne vehicle that was absolutely surreal. You actually had to look at it and say, was this generated by AI? Because it was so surreal to see how high in the air this vehicle went, and then the crash and the explosion and the fire. That video will be released very shortly. As I said, we're not aware of any threats to this area, but I state the caveat that the investigation is ongoing. If you can imagine, this vehicle basically incinerated. Nothing is left but the engine. The pieces are scattered over 13, 14 booths. So it is a large scene, and it's going to take a lot of time for our federal law enforcement partners who are with me here today, and I'll identify, to be able to piece together the real story, to identify the make of the car. Obviously, there is not a license plate. I've been briefed by law enforcement for the last hour. New York State Police, Colonel Andy Crow, Colonel Allen, other law enforcement officials. I've been joined by Andy Bowker, who's the special agent in charge of the Customs and Border Patrol. I was also briefed by the SAC from the FBI. Also is on the phone with Secretary of Homeland Security Mayorkas. The FBI Director, Christopher Bray, has reached out. The White House has reached out. My staff has been in communication with all of them. I spoke with Senator Schumer, Senator Gillibrand, Congressman Higgins, local law enforcement, as well as local elected officials, because the world is watching to find out what happened here. And again, at a time when there's such high anxiety, stress levels are already high, and we've been on heightened alert since October 7th. That's why it's so important for me to stand here and tell the world, based on what we know at this moment, and again, anything can change, there is no sign of terrorist activity with respect to this crash. We have identified that this is a local individual, a Western New Yorker. 2 individuals died in the vehicle. The Border Patrol individual working in the booth was injured. The booth literally protected that individual. They went to the hospital with minor injuries and have been released. There is also, again, the busiest travel day of the year. There's a major disruption. And first of all, our cross-border travel. Right now, the Rainbow Bridge will remain closed while law enforcement continues investigation. Again, this is a large, widely scattered scene, and we're trying to identify all the elements to make sure that there is no unforeseen situations that we need to address before we can open again to the public. We're going to make sure the public is safe before they go back on the Rainbow Bridge. Also make sure the structural integrity of the booths. Also very important, our state DOT will be involved in that as well. The Whirlpool Bridge and Lewiston Queenston Bridge opening early this evening, probably open by now. Can anybody confirm that? Yeah. We're open now, okay? They're open now. There's been a lot of people trying to get across. I appreciate that. The Peace Bridge, which was open, is already reopened a half an hour ago. For those traveling by train, unfortunately, Amtrak has temporarily suspended its cross-border service between New York State and Canada. And the Buffalo Airport, despite early reports, the Buffalo Airport was never closed and everything is normal. Domestic flights are still active. There has been no cessation in service there. What I want to do at this time is extend my extreme gratitude to all of our partners, Customs and Border Patrol, Homeland Security, FBI, our state police, local sheriffs, Niagara County, Erie County, all stepped up to assist in trying to identify what exactly transpired here beginning at 11:27 a.m. this morning. They gave up their time from their families. They showed up. They reminded us that there are people who put on a uniform every single day, put themselves in harm's way. The people out there on that bridge, in the immediate aftermath of what happened, unknown, the source, the cause of this explosion, were out there doing their jobs. So I want to pause to give them just the gratitude of a governor and 20 million New Yorkers who sleep better at night because of their willingness to do this. They run toward danger. They should be with their families today, but they will not be. This investigation will go on for a number of days, and that's why we will not have any further answers at this time as to the individuals involved, the deceased, any motivation, and there's a lot of unanswered questions. But at this time, we just need to dial down the temperature right now, and that's what I plan to do as governor. Just let everybody know all is well. We're investigating. More information could arise, but based on the preliminary investigation, no sign of terrorist involvement in the horrific explosion that occurred here in Western New York. Any questions?
Governor Hochul, can you explain what you're basing that determination on, that there was no terrorist activity here, instead calling this a horrific accident?
That's based on my briefings with experienced law enforcement, with the FBI, Homeland Security, and the Customs and Border Protection. They brought experts. They're still analyzing this, but there's been no indication based on any online threats, anyone taking credit for anything, all the usual areas you look to identify whether or not there's a group involved at this time. You hear me say this at this time a dozen times because it is still unfolding, but I didn't want to leave the public with a lot more anxiety than they need to have at this time.
So I just want to be perfectly clear. There was no evidence to show at this time that this was a terrorist activity.
There is no evidence at this time that this was a terrorist activity. And that's what I want to make very clear to the public, just to calm everybody down. It's really important because based on what's happening in other parts of the world, everybody is on edge. And this is an international border. And we've always felt the vulnerability there. But this was I won't call it an accident. It's not been determined to be an accident. You don't know whether the driver was intentional in how they drove. We do not know that. All I know is there was a horrific accident. Well, I won't call it an accident. Horrific incident, a crash, an explosion, loss of life. But at this time, no known terrorist connection.
Governor, we saw agents canvassing the neighborhood, specifically near the casino and on Niagara Street. Is there a reason why, or sources are telling us this couple may have left the casino and were on their way to Toronto?
I can't confirm where the car originated at this time, but there is suspicion that the vehicle may have originated in that vicinity.
I'm sorry, can you just clarify of Niagara Falls or where that car may have originated?
Within the city.
Of Niagara Falls?
Not saying that's a local resident. I'm saying that it's a It's a Western New York resident who was most likely in that vicinity prior to the high rate of speed, extraordinarily high rate of speed that led to the crash into the median that sent the vehicle airborne. And when you see this video, your jaw will drop in disbelief at how this went so high over an 8-foot high fence. It's rather extraordinary.
Time for one more. Can you just walk us through the idea, the decision to close all border crossings in Western New York? What went into that? And can you walk us through the sheer magnitude of that kind of decision?
I'm going to turn it over to the representative from the Customs and Border Patrol Special Agent in charge. That would be Aaron Balker. Would you like to address the decision made to close the border?
Thank you, Governor. I think anytime you have an incident like this, you want to take an abundance of precaution to protect not only the staff and personnel, but also the public. So you make a quick decision like that, and then to go back based on the totality of circumstances, working with law enforcement partners to reopen, we are reopened.
Can you walk us through the man who was hurt, the agent? Was it a customs agent or was it a border protection?
It was a Customs and Border Protection officer. Out of an abundance of precaution, based on some minor injuries, went to the hospital, was treated and released.
And what have your conversations with that person been?
I'm not going to get any other further details at this time.
A veteran of the force, or how long?
Just going to leave it at that as an employee.
Have you ruled out suicide?
I'm sorry?
Have you ruled out suicide?
It's an ongoing investigation, so we're not going to say anything else at this time.
Did you say how many people were injured at the scene? Just the one, or was there multiple injuries?
From our employees, it was one employee.
I think that's something, and it's something we should be grateful for. When you look at the scale of the scene, of how far the pieces of this vehicle exploded and scattered, the fact that other people in other vehicles, and there's been some damage to other vehicles. I mean, you can imagine the lines were long, many booths. This is not an isolated late night occurrence. This is the busiest travel day of the year at 11:27 in the morning. People are on the road. So it was a very congested area. And thank God there was no one else injured. It could have been much more cataclysmic. And so, but thank you all for coming out. I appreciate your attention and helping us let the public know to dial back the anxiety associated with this event. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Mr. Doctor, really quick, are the booths secured?
So it looks like that's that. Well, I don't know. Maybe she's right. Maybe she's not. But I don't know. Leaves me really uncomfortable watching all of that. But with that said, that's probably where I'm going to leave this for now. I'm going to keep my eyes peeled, and if anything else comes through, making it look anything else other than an accident, I'll be absolute to jump back on here with you guys. So if you're not subscribed, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. So thanks, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.